Adesinahe from making comment. NBA moves conference from Riversoul's civil service recruitment notice. On the foreign scene, China raises tariffs on U.S. goods as trade war intensifies. I am Ifechukwu Moyele with the news. Now, a state high court in Port Harcourt has ordered parties in a defamation suit filed by the former chief of staff to suspended River State Governor Siminalayi Fubara Adesinahe not to make comments, statements, or any manner of representation to the public or whomsoever relating to the subject matter of the suit. The judge, Justice Jumbo Stevens, gave the order yesterday. Justice Stevens adjourned the matter to the 4th of June for mention and further proceedings. Defendants in the suit are the former head of service, George Wike, and Channels Television. And now President Bola Tinubu and the Attorney General of the Federation were both absent as the Federal High Court in Abuja opened a hearing on the River State Sole Administrator case on Thursday. The suit was filed by Abuja-based lawyer John Mary Jidobi. He is asking the court to declare the appointment of retired Vice Admiral Ibokete Ekwe Abas as sole administrator of River State illegal. According to him, all decisions made by Abas in that role should be void and have no legal effect. He is also seeking an order to stop the president or anyone acting on his behalf from interfering with the tenure of any state governor or deputy, including those in River State. When the case came up, his lawyer Chimezie Enuka said all the defendants have been served court papers except the attorneys general of Zamfara and Bauchi State. With that, all lawyers present agreed to a new date. Justice James Omotosho adjourned the matter to June 11. He also ordered that fresh hearing notices be sent to all the defendants. In another development, the Nigeria Bar Association (NBA) has relocated its 2025 annual General Conference from Port Harcourt to Enugu following President Bola Tinubu's recent declaration of emergency rule in River State. This was disclosed in a statement jointly signed late Thursday night by NBA President Afam Osigwe, General Secretary Mobolaji Ojibara, and AGCPC Chairman Emeka. No legal effect. I beg your pardon. The chairman, Emeka Obegolu. Now, the association stated that although the initial announcement of Port Harcourt as the host city for this year's conference was met with enthusiasm, the appointment of a sole administrator means the city can no longer be considered a viable host. The NBA said that its National Executive Council reaffirmed that the state of emergency declared in River State violates Section 305 of the 1999 Constitution. It noted that although the sole administrator appears in civilian attire, his governing style is military in nature and undermines democratic principles. A legal practitioner, Chioma Chukwu, says the Nigeria Bar Association's relocation of its annual general conference to Enugu demonstrates the association's refusal to accept the imposition of an unjustified state of emergency. Speaking on Nigerian FM's Morning Crossfire, Mr. Chukwu said the association is practical to their words as they cannot come to a state where there is no democratic rule. In a related development, the Attorney General of the Federation, Minister of Justice Lateef Fagbemi, says Nigerians should stop interpreting judicial matters through partisan lenses. Lateef Fagbemi spoke with journalists on Thursday after the presentation of a book titled Tribulations and Trophies, Bola Ajibola, in his own words, in Lagos State. Speaking on the emergency rule in River State, Fagbemi said he has avoided taking sides on the declaration since the matter is being subjected to judicial scrutiny. The AGF said there is a need for stakeholders to shun emotions and sentiments when seeking answers to legal questions. Moving on now, the sole administrator of River State, Ibokete Abas, has distanced his administration from reports that the government is set to recruit 10,000 people into the state civil service. On Thursday, there were reports that the state had commenced mass recruitment of graduate and non-graduate. The reports also claim that the approval was granted by IBAS and attributed the announcement to Ibibia Warika, secretary to the state government. However, in a counter statement issued by acting head of the Rivers State Civil Service, Iyingi Brown, the state government described the information as false and misleading. Coming up next, Rivers State named among high flood risk states. Stay with us. And now the rest of the news. Rivers, Bayelsa, Abia, Imo State have been named among states that fall within the high flood risk areas in 2025. The Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, NISA, said this in the warning it issued during the official presentation of the 2025 Annual Flood Outlook, AFO, by the Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Utsev in Abuja. The minister said the 2025 forecast is aimed at raising awareness and encouraging preparedness among citizens, particularly in vulnerable communities. The minister explained that the 2025 Annual Flood Outlook has been segmented into 3 parts to enhance flood preparedness. He said the parts include a general flood forecast, a communication strategy for effective warning dissemination, and a mitigation plan to reduce exposure and vulnerability. Away from that, the Federal High Court in Abuja has struck out a fundamental rights suit filed by a leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, challenging his extradition from Kenya to Nigeria. The suit was filed against the federal government and the Attorney General of the Federation, AGF, in 2022. Kanu asked the court to determine whether the way and manner in which he was abducted in Kenya and extraordinarily renditioned to Nigeria is consistent with extant laws. He said his extradition violates the provisions of Article 12, subsection 4 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, Ratification and Enforcement Act, Cap A9 laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and Article/Part 5, subsection A of the African Charter's Principles and Guidelines on Human and People's Rights. In business, the Petroleum Products Retail Outlet Owners Association of Nigeria, PetroOne, says the Naira for crude policy will bring down petrol prices. Speaking to newsmen in Abuja, PetroOne's National Public Relations Officer, Joseph Obele, said the association is optimistic that the policy, combined with the recent drop in global crude oil prices, will lead to more affordable fuel prices for Nigerian consumers. He said it is a strategic move aimed at reducing dependence on foreign exchange, enhancing local refining capacity, and stabilizing the downstream sector. In entertainment, Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has threatened to drag the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission, NBC, to court for banning the song released by Idris Abdulkarim criticizing President Tinubu's administration. In sports, Egypt forward Mohamed Salah has signed a new 2-year contract with Liverpool.
And now, we'll bring you news from around the world.
China has raised import taxes on U.S. goods to 125% as the trade war with the U.S. over U.S. President Donald Trump's global tariff escalates. Beijing faces a 145% levy on some of its goods imported to the U.S. President Xi Jinping called on the EU to join China in opposing bullying from the U.S., saying there are no winners in a tariff war. Despite this, Donald Trump says he is still hoping to secure a deal with Beijing, saying they would end up working something out that's very good for both countries. And as still on the international scene, a family's sightseeing tour over New York City ended in tragedy after their helicopter crashed into the Hudson River. The Bell 206 helicopter, run by New York Helicopter Tours, went down on Thursday. The crash claimed the lives of Agustin Escobar, a senior Spanish executive at tech firm Siemens, his wife, Merce Cambrubi Montal, and their 3 children, aged 4 years, 5 years, and 11 years.
This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
That's a wrap on the news this afternoon. Before we go, let's have a look at the major stories. A Rivers State High Court has restrained parties in the defamation suit filed by former Chief of Staff Edison Ehi from making comment. NBA has moved its conference from Rivers State to Enugu over emergency rule. Riversol administrator has the zone civil service recruitment notice. On the foreign scene, you heard China has raised tariffs on U.S. goods as trade war intensifies. The news was edited by Martha Okiri. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808 721 7215. I'm Ifechukwu Mwanyali. Many thanks for listening.